family, happy Monday. Today I wanted to talk to you about some things that I no longer buy. And it was a really hard list for me to come together with because minimalism has been this like slow evolving process for me over the last decade or more. And so I don't really feel like there's a stark difference of what I say bought this year versus like the last 2 or 3 years. But I came up with a little list. The first most obvious thing are DVDs. This is not to say that we don't watch movies or buy movies. It's actually just very rare that we buy any movie whatsoever, and typically when we do, it's a digital copy. Reason being is because Redbox or even iTunes and Netflix, it's really easy to get movies that we want to watch or rent them for a much lower cost than what a DVD costs. DVDs typically range from like $20 to $25 if you're buying the movie brand new, and unless you're planning on watching the movie like 10 times, it's really not worth it. So there are obviously a few exceptions like Moana, so we like to buy those movies so the girls can have access to it for their weekend movie time. The next thing that kind of goes hand in hand is music. I really like Spotify, which comes with almost every single song that I can think of. Some of the newer albums take a little bit longer to get there. I actually ended up buying the Adele CD, which I was bummed about because I bought it and then it came out on Spotify anyways, but it's okay. I'm really happy supporting artists. I think they're great at what they do and I really super appreciate music. But outside of that, that's the only album I've bought for years and years. So we don't buy music, and I also don't buy like blank CDs and blank DVDs. I used to do those, but I think nobody buys those anymore since you can pretty much Bluetooth or plug your phone right into your car. One of the things that I remember buying and purchasing like a lot of a long time ago was coffee and energy drinks. It was like a daily thing. And when you start focusing on what adds value to your life, you start focusing on like exercising or eating better foods, getting to bed on time, you start to not need those energy drinks to give you that boost to get through the day, and you end up feeling a lot better, and they just end up making you really jittery and not feeling good whatsoever. So it's very rare that I drink or even buy coffee. Like I typically would never buy a coffee, and when I drink it, it's usually because it's cold brew or I just like really enjoy the flavor and it's something that I want to taste at the moment. The next thing that I actually consume a lot of, but I don't buy a lot of physical items, are books. And I actually had like 2 big bookshelves when I first met Brett, and they were just like the most difficult things to move around and take with me all the time. I remember I used to just pack like 2 extra large suitcases full of books and roll them into my car and just bring them with me like one by one. Shipping was just like not even an option. And it was one of the great things that really brought a lot of like self money making when I was pregnant with Love, because I ended up selling all those books on Amazon and it ended up making me a lot of money at that time that I needed it. So nowadays I basically just go to the library and rent a book if I want a physical copy, and or I buy them from Kindle. And I really love putting my books on Kindle. It's so easy to transport and have like my whole library with me. I'm just like so in love with the fact that technology has taken us there and we're not cutting down any more trees to print all these books. Now I will say, as an exception, I will buy physical books on occasion, and that's typically if I'm buying them as a gift for somebody. So those are the only times that I really buy books. So this is the only sort of new category, and I call it new because it's just something that we're giving a try. Something that's really caught my attention as of late that I am not comfortable with is how many chemicals are in our clothes from the dyes and the synthetic processes that they go through. Not only that, a lot of the fibers, like the cotton fibers, are being genetically modified to actually have the Roundup or the pesticides in the actual genetics of the plant itself. So no matter how much you wash these clothes, they're not coming out. And it's a lot worse than, like, let's say when I was a kid. There's just a ton more chemicals and a ton more things going into our clothes. And so it used to be my favorite thing to not buy new clothes and to go to Goodwill and do thrift shopping. Like, it's still so hard for me that we have these like Goodwill superstores nearby, and I just absolutely love going in there and checking out some of the items that we could use. And the hardest thing is not looking into the clothes and getting some really awesome pieces, some almost brand new, for just a few dollars a piece. But because of the way that the chemical processes are happening in our clothes, as of lately, now that our girls are growing into the next size, we've chosen to buy actually organic clothing for them for the items that they need. And one of our favorite companies that we do this through is Patagonia, because a lot of their stuff is either organic or repurposed, and we really love that. And then they offer kids clothes, but not all of them are used clothes. I find it really difficult to find purely organic used clothes. So if you guys have any thoughts or any resources regarding that, I would really love that. Thank you guys so much for sharing. The last couple items are just things that I was kind of thinking about. Excessive hair accessories. Like, I typically just buy hair ties. I have my big hair clip, and then I have like a sock bun thing just for fun because I have a lot of hair and it's really fun getting it up in a sock bun. And also single-use kitchen items, with the exception of a garlic press, because it takes a long time to julienne all the little garlic, and so you can use that garlic press not just for garlic, but for chili peppers or anything that needs julienne that can fit into there. Things like a lemon squeezer or a teapot, and even though we drink tea and heat up lots of water, I find it equally as easy to heat it up in a pot and dispense from there. So those are just some little items that we try not to buy, and of course, like, tiny little knick-knack things that you don't need and as much of, or like excessive stuff that can collect and get stuffed in drawers. Those are things that we're really conscious of. And sometimes it just takes time going through the process of actually buying the stuff and then saying, oh wait, I don't need this, and then choosing not to buy it again. And it actually took me a couple years, like a few years maybe, it's been a while, where now I finally feel like all the stuff that I have, I really use it and I really love it and I don't need to replace it. And when I go to the store, it's not like we're going into that vicious minimalist cycle that we've talked about in the past. So it takes a moment to root everything or to use everything that you have. And there was definitely like a whole year of consciously trying to utilize the stuff that we have or find really good homes or people who needed it. And then being really conscious and staying super conscious about what you get. I am a lot more patient. In fact, I'm kind of a pain in the butt now when it comes to buying new items, because I sit and I think for a really long time and I want to decide like what options I really want and if I could get away without using it. And so it's a totally different perspective than what I used to have, which was just like anything and everything that I want or feel like I need, I could get that and buy it right now. And that came from the idea that I wanted to feel abundant and that I was trying to sort of solve the crisis in my mind of feeling like I wasn't allowed to do some of the things that I really felt inspired to do as a child, or, you know, all these money issues that we had when I was a kid being the reason that all the problems in my life still existed. So that grew into my childhood in me trying to heal that wound by buying myself stuff and allowing myself to buy all that stuff. And of course that led to having to repay debt several times and not getting on my feet and not understanding investments and all of that stuff that we continue to talk about. But anyhow, those are some items that I no longer buy. If you guys feel like I'm missing any real purposeful categories, stick them in the comments below. Also share with me what items you don't buy, because it allows me to think and reflect on my own life. And I hope you guys like this video. If you have any more requests, please stick them in the comments below. I really thank you guys for being flexible and going with the flow here on this channel. I'm trying to just bring some valuable content to you lately because we're still not settled anywhere and just getting everything in order, and I'm trying to prepare. We actually did get a place, and we're preparing that for work, and then I'm trying to think about revolutionizing that work to just be even more in line, and it's just a constant refinement process. So I thank you guys for sticking around here with us, and I hope that we can refine our community as we grow together. So I appreciate you guys. Have a good rest of the week. Ciao.